freedom will ring. An author of a famous quote once stated, "We fight, we get beat, we rise, and we fight again." General Nathanael Greene, 1781. Now take a second. What does this mean to you? Well, let me tell you what it meant to the colonists who fought in the American Revolution. During the Revolution, they were fighting for their freedom. The whole goal of the war was to get away from Great Britain, who was controlled by a monarchy government. Today, I will be covering a few points about how America gained their freedom. The battle for freedom started in the year of 1763 after the French and Indian War ended. It was British against France, and British won, although they were left with a debt as vast as the ocean. The colonists moved to the New World in order to pursue their religion and beliefs. But King George III knew that they had bad relations with Indian tribes in the New World, so he banned their settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains. Parliament used their settlement in the New World as an excuse to tax them and get more money. They imposed 7 acts during the years of 1764 to 1774, forcing them to pay taxes on things like glass, imports, and stamps for all printed goods. It also forced them to house the soldiers who were staying in America and allowing them to search their property without actual search warrants. The colonists rebelled because they were upset with the taxation without representation. It violated their rights, and they wanted to do something about it. One article states, "On the cold, snowy night of March 5th, 1770, a mob of American colonists gathers at the Customs House in Boston and begins taunting the British soldiers guarding the building. Citizens were throwing ice and snowballs at them until one of the soldiers opened fire, killing 5 colonists, wiped away from the face of the earth, as if they never even existed and never even mattered. All because the British government thought that they had the power and the right to do that. Americans dressed as Indians boarded 3 ships filled with barrels of tea, dumping it all into the Boston harbor. It disappeared like a freezing snowflake to the touch of warm skin. In 1774, the Intolerable Act was placed to make sure that nothing like this would happen again, although it did not last for long. In the same year, the First Continental Congress took place, where they demolished the Intolerable Acts. The battles during the American Revolution are considered a conflict theory. Everything happened suddenly, fast and furious, like cars racing to the finish line. Waiting wasn't an option. Both sides had a goal that they were striving to meet. It was often very violent, with little mercy shown. In 1775, something that will be remembered for all of time as the shot heard around the world took place, because British government forces came to seize all weapons on April 18th. Minutemen were warned and were able to prepare just in case something were to happen. No one knows who the first person to open fire was, because after that first person did, everyone did so as well. During the battles, the Declaration of Independence was signed by important people on July 4th, 1776. Thomas Jefferson was the main author of it. It was a document that declared America free from Great Britain. In 1777, just 1 year later, the Articles of Confederation was drafted. This was a document that had a rough set of laws to govern the states. It was the start of a major paradigm shift. 1781. This is when the paradigm shift really took off. U.S. was officially free after the Battle of Yorktown, when a general named Cornwallis from Britain marched his army to Yorktown in hopes of using it as a base of operations. To their surprise, they were met there by George Washington, Lafayette, Degrassi, and their armies. They were an outnumbered army, and he knew it. He surrendered his army after his navy had to retreat at the mouth of Chesapeake Bay, who was met there by a French naval force. Freedom rings. As the age of modernization started to set in the New World, the basic constitution and representatives that they had from each state was later modernized into elections and president in the 50 states that we have here today. The Emancipation Proclamation was also set in by Abraham Lincoln. This allowed all slaves to be free. Abigail Adams, wife of John Adams, was a major voice for women's rights. And now look what we can do. We can vote, work the same jobs as men, and get paid just as much. The change in the American Revolution led to modernization within society. In the American Revolution, colonist resiliency came from the hope to one day be free. Have you ever lost hope? I know for a fact that the colonists did. They weren't expected to win the war, but they did because they were fighting for something important to them. America's love for their country and freedom is the reason that we are all here today. It is the reason that we do not have to live in fear of not knowing what will happen if we say, do, or think the wrong thing. Thank you.